All right, welcome back to the channel. So very happy to be doing this video. Jermell Charlo and Jeison Rosario will be fighting on September 26th for the unified, to unify the WBC, the IBF, and the WBA belts. And Jeison Rosario basically called Jermell Charlo food and said his reign is over. Let's talk about Jeison Rosario, the dark horse, man, or I probably shouldn't say dark horse, the the guy that has snuck up to the top of the 154-pound division. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Jeison Rosario, Jermell Charlo are fighting on a pay-per-view on the same card as Jermell Charlo when he fights Sergey Derevanchenko. I know there's like a vowel I'm missing in the middle of it. Derevanchenko. I'm not sure how you say that, but you know, Sergey Derevanchenko should be a great card. Very, very, very excited for it to take place. And yesterday, there was the press conference for the fight where PBC interviewed Jermell Charlo, interviewed Jeison Rosario, and about the fight that's upcoming. So this should be a very, very good fight. But the thing that I thought was really interesting is what Jeison Rosario was saying. Not a lot of people, including myself, knew much about Jeison Rosario when he fought Jermell Charlo, when he beat Julian J. Rock Williams to win the WBA and the IBF belts. I had seen him fight Nathaniel Gallimore. I remember it was a good fight with him and Nathaniel Gallimore. But then Nathaniel Gallimore caught him, wound up knocking him out. Then he had a couple other good wins. He had a couple good wins before he fought J-Rock, which were, you know, they got him in the position to fight J-Rock. Obviously, he had to have some good wins before he could get that shot for that title, right? So now he is the WBA. He beats Jeison Rosario. Now he has those two belts. And unlike the last two guys that held that belt, who were Julian J. Rock Williams and Jared Hurd, Jeison Rosario is actually going to follow through and fight Jermell Charlo, who I think is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. There's a few weeks ago, or no, was it a few weeks ago? It was earlier this year. People in our boxing community, I'm a member of a boxing community called the Lions Den Boxing Community. If you are a member of that community, you already know, but sometimes there's a lot of people that come in that are not subscribed and don't know that. But in the boxing community where we talk boxing, we had a discussion about whether or not people should boycott Showtime. And the reason why people were thinking that maybe they should boycott Showtime was because of something that Paulie Malignaggi, a former commentator, was saying, or a bunch of things that he was saying, right? But in the midst of that conversation, I started thinking about the concept of a boycott, right? Where you're just like going to refuse to acknowledge or refuse to do business with somebody. And I thought, man, are there any other like boycotts in boxing? And then it just dawned on me, there are. Ring Magazine, Ring Magazine and ESPN have a virtual boycott of the majority of the PBC fighters on their pound-for-pound list, right? They have like a token. They might put one token in there, maybe two tokens in there, but that's it. Even though if you look at the resume or you look at the roster on the PBC and the world champions they have there, at least in my opinion, there's not a lot of these guys are better than people on that pound-for-pound list, but ESPN, Ring Magazine refused to acknowledge it, right? And Jermell Charlo, in my opinion, is one of those guys that do not get the recognition that he deserves. Now, he is, without a doubt, a difficult guy to talk to. Like, I listened to Jermell Charlo on his interviews. I've never seen him in person. But you know, his demeanor is very aggressive. It's very, it's just off, right? So it's like he seems like a type of guy would be, kind of difficult to get along with. However, if you look at what this dude is doing in the 154-pound division, the deepest, which is probably the deepest or the most top heavy 1 to 10 or the best 1 to 10 top fighters in the division, in all of the divisions of boxing. And he has been the best guy on there. Now, Jeison Rosario, my hat goes off to Jeison Rosario for fighting him. Originally, Jeison Rosario said that he was not ready for Jermell Charlo. That was after the fight with Julian J. Rock Williams. Now, when Julian J. Rock Williams he declined to exercise his rematch clause. That left Jeison Rosario with an option to fight, pretty much whoever he wanted to fight. But then right behind that comes the pandemic. So there's not a lot of options. And the PBC, because they're looking to do pay-per-views, and well, I won't get into why in this video about why a pay-per-view could work financially, even if it is not some gigantic event. Regardless, Jeison Rosario is manning up and taking the fight, whether it is because, he doesn't have anybody else to fight, the money is too good, whatever the case is. Jeison Rosario is doing what Jarrett Hurd did not want to do and Julian J. Rock Williams couldn't do. Now, let me explain why that is. Julian J. Rock Williams beat Jarrett Hurd because Jarrett Hurd refused to fight Jermell Charlo. He had beaten Erislandy Lara. He beat Austin Trout, and he got the IBF if he didn't already have. But he fought him for the IBF. I don't know if he won the IBF off him or if he had it the fight before. But he fought Austin Trout, and then he fought Erislandy Lara, collected 2 of those belts, and he was talking about, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going for Jermell Charlo. Never went to Jermell Charlo. Then Jeison Rosario, J-Rock, there's so many J's at 154 pounds. J-Rock can't fight Jermell Charlo because Jermell Charlo lost to Tony Harrison on a very controversial decision, but now he's got his belt back. Julian J. Rock Williams doesn't have his belt because he got knocked out by Jeison Rosario, or they had to throw in the towel. I think it was a TKO. So the curse of the WBA IBF belts may very well continue in this fight with Jermell Charlo and Jeison Rosario. Now, in the press conference, Jeison Rosario said that we will see. Now, this is translated, right? We will see who is the hunter and who is the hunted. Because Jermell Charlo and Jermell Charlo, their logo is lions only. So he's like, well, lions do the hunting, but nah, I'm doing the hunting. We'll see who the lion is and we'll see who the prey is, which is basically saying that Jermell Charlo's got to be food for him. Let's analyze that for just a second, dog. At present, I think Jermell Charlo is a plus 400 betting favorite over Jeison Rosario. I think he's minus 400, and I think Jeison Rosario is plus 250, right? So obviously Jermell Charlo was the big betting favorite in this fight. And also to me, dude, I think, not Jermell Charlo is the big betting favorite in this fight. And also, I think that is pretty reasonable. I have to go with Jermell Charlo in this fight. Although I gotta say, man, that Jeison Rosario is a guy that has a chance in the fight. One of the things that I underestimated about Jeison Rosario going into his fight with Julian Williams was that, his chin is a little bit. I thought his chin was suspect. And even though he had good power, that Julian Williams would get him. But I underestimated the power and the strength of Jeison Rosario. I might have overestimated the chin of Julian Williams as well. But the problem with Julian Williams, at least from my perspective, is that Julian Williams likes to fight at mid-range. And when you're in mid-range with a guy like Jeison Rosario, who's very heavy-handed, he has an opportunity to lay his hands on you. So that's what happened to him. He was just fighting in mid-range, and Jeison Rosario would on occasion just catch him with something nice, and he would rock him. And it just happened over a couple times. Just he buzzed him really bad. And then after he buzzed him really bad, he started wearing him down, and they had to stop the fight. Now, actually, in the fight, though, if Julian Williams would have had a better ability to take a punch, I think that Julian Williams might have done better, or J-Rock would have been done better in that fight. But definitely if he had the ability to fight better from the outside, to move on the outside, to really keep, to dictate the distance between the two of the fighters. And that's what I see Jermell Charlo being able to do, because Jermell Charlo he's a hybrid fighter. Jermell can box, and he proved that he could box with Tony Harrison. Now, Tony Harrison, in my opinion, is one of the better boxers, skilled boxers at 154 pounds. And, Tony Harrison might be more skilled than, I don't know, man, maybe he might be more skilled than anybody else at 154 pounds. But the problem with Tony Harrison is Tony Harrison doesn't have a chin. And he doesn't pop very hard, right? And he lost focus at the wrong time. Jermell Charlo was able to box with Tony Harrison, but when he realized, he's like, oh, this is too even of a matchup in this boxing thing, he really couldn't box. He was not going to be able to just strictly outbox him. Jermell Charlo, because he has that switch and he has that ability to go into seek and destroy mode, just in the second fight and in a bit in the first fight, just went into seek and destroy mode and eventually got the guy out of there. So I see the same thing taking place with Jeison Rosario. I just really hope that Jermell Charlo is wary of the power of Jeison Rosario, because I'm not quite sure if Jermell has ever fought anybody really with the power of Jeison Rosario. But we'll see, man. It's going to be a great fight. Jermell Charlo is far from food. And let's see it on the 26th, man. It's going to be a great fight along with the other Charlo fight. And with that, I'm out. Peace.